massive day for the employed. Claude Code got leaked and Axios got hacked on the same day.
100% of my code is written by Claude Code. I have not edited a single line by hand since November.
So I want you to think about the last time you ran npm install on a project. You typed in the command, you hit enter and then just watched. Hundreds of packages flying in by the terminal. Dependencies of dependencies of dependencies. Code written by people you've never heard of. From countries you might not even be able to point out on a map. Solving problems you will never fully understand. All just silently installing themselves onto your machine. I actually made a video about this a while back. JavaScript has a dependency problem where I talked about this 11-line padding function that went down one day in 2016 and then half the web went down with it. And I made that video as kind of a joke, like isn't this funny? We built the entire modern web on packages maintained by volunteers and then made sure it was held together by duct tape and hope. And then March 31st happened and then it stopped being funny. So today we're doing a tech recap. 2 stories on the same day. The same ecosystem too, funnily enough, and together they paint a pretty uncomfortable picture of where we're at with software in 2026. First, Axios. If you've written any JavaScript in the last decade, you've probably used Axios. It's an HTTP client library. It has over 100 million weekly downloads. It's in web apps, mobile apps, backend services, CI/CD pipelines probably. It is, by any reasonable definition, critical infrastructure. And then on March 31st, someone hacked it. 2 malicious versions, 1.14.1 and 0.030.4, were published to NPM through the compromised account of a lead maintainer, Jason Saman. The malicious versions didn't just contain the malicious code directly, someone would have spotted that by now. No, instead they introduced a single new dependency, plain crypto.js, a purposely built package whose post-install script silently downloaded and executed platform-specific payloads. By the way, Tian, thank you for that call out. I don't know how the hell you predicted this shit. For the non-developers watching, when you install an npm package, it can run scripts automatically during installation. You don't get asked, it just runs. The entire delivery chain hinged on npm's post-install lifecycle hook. Essentially, you install Axios, Axios installs plain crypto.js, and then plain crypto.js quietly fires off a script, and now you have a rat on your machine, or like a remote access Trojan. And the malware, what did it do after it executed? It deleted its own files and replaced its package.json with a clean version to evade any sort of detection. The only way to know that it had ever been there was your network logs showing an outbound connection to a server that shouldn't exist. This was not a sloppy hack. This malicious dependency was staged 18 hours in advance. 3 separate payloads were pre-built for 3 operating systems. Both release branches were hit within 39 minutes. Somebody big must have planned this. And then it got attributed almost immediately. So Google's threat intelligence group attributed the attack to UNCI 1069, a financially motivated North Korea Nexus threat actor active since at least 2018. What? Microsoft confirmed it independently. The account that created plain crypto.js is associated with the Sapphire Slate infrastructure. North Korea is hacking NPM to steal developer credentials. Which honestly, you know what, I respect the grind, it's kind of efficient. The malicious versions were live for approximately 2 hours and 54 minutes before NPM removed them. Less than 3 hours, but Axios has 100 million weekly downloads. 3 hours at that velocity is probably still an enormous blast radius. So I'm just gonna hit this off with a warning. I know this channel is all about funny tech stuff, but if you did run npm install anywhere between midnight 21 and 3:15 UTC on March 31st, assume that your machine is compromised, rotate everything, and then rebuild from a clean image. Let's talk about the same morning, but at a different angle. While all this Axios stuff is happening, literally within hours, Anthropic accidentally published the entire source code of Claude Code to npm. 512,000 lines of TypeScript. By the way, I'm going to get to that TypeScript, yeah. 1,906 files, the complete internal code base on the public npm registry for anyone to download. The leak stemmed from a packaging error where Bun, which is the runtime they use, generated a full source map by default, and it was not excluded in .npm ignore, which I have some experience in. A source map, for context, is a debugging file. When your JavaScript gets compiled and minified, it turns into an unreadable garbage. A source map essentially bridges that back to your original readable code. They're incredibly useful in development. You should never ship them to production though. So because of that one missing line in that one config file, that reference that was pointing to a zip archive was now hosted on Anthropic's Cloudflare R2 storage bucket, and people were downloading and decompressing almost immediately. The snapshot of the source was backed up in a GitHub repo that had been forked more than 41,000 times within days. Anthropic issued DMCA takedown. Someone then rewrote the whole thing in another programming language to sidestep the copyright claims. Boris Cherny came out, head of Claude Code, confirmed that it was, and I'm quoting here, a plain developer error. He also shared something that accidentally became the most quoted line of the week: 100% of my contributions to Claude Code were written to Claude Code. And yeah, we can. The AI's coding tool source code leaked because the humans maintaining it let the AI write everything. I'm not saying those things are connected, I'm just saying, like, that might have been why it happened. Another thing I want to point out: Claude Code is written in React. That's the craziest thing I learned from all of this. I thought it'd be written in like Rust or something, but actually one of the people that copied Claude Code source code, they copied it into Rust, and it's probably like 50,000 times faster, but React is kind of crazy. Okay, let's actually talk about what's in the Claude Code leak. So inside the leak, there's about 44 feature flags covering features that are fully built but not yet shipped. Not concepts, not design docs, fully compiled code sitting behind flags that just evaluate to false in the external build. We have Kairos, named after the ancient Greek concept of the right moment, referenced over 150 times in the source. It represented an always-on autonomous daemon mode, basically a background agent that kept working even when you're idle. Then we had AutoDream, so while the user is idle, the agent would perform memory consolidation, which would be just merging observation, removing logical contradictions, converting vague insights into absolute facts. I don't know, just studying itself, I suppose, while you sleep. Anthropic has also now recommended moving away from the npm installation entirely. The native installer with curl is now the recommended method because it uses a standalone binary that doesn't rely on the npm dependency chain, which I feel like is good advice, you know? Though I will note the irony of the solution of trusting random npm packages is to run a curl-piped shell script. So what do you actually take away from a week like this? Okay, for the Axios attack, the supply chain is the attack surface now. It's not your code that gets you, it's a dependency your code imports or a dependency of that dependency maintained by one person with one npm token that never rotated. For the Claude Code leak, honestly, the actual damage to users is probably minimal. No customer data or credentials were involved. If anything, this might be a service to humanity because the person rewriting the entire thing in Rust is probably that's gonna be great. Anyway, check your log files, update your Claude Code through the native installer, and maybe, just maybe, don't run npm install at 2 a.m. UTC without checking the security advisors first. Oh my god, cool outro time. Hello, welcome back. Please join Discord server. We're making a community project Discord bot that I think a lot of you would be interested in. We're all engaging together, making it an open source. So join the community if you want that project. I feel like it'd be good on your resume because I know a lot of you are students too. Hop in, it's gonna be fun. We're building it together, we're planning it out right now. So definitely take a look at that.